Okay, can you guys see my current screen? If you do, please put one in the chat. Let me look at this. Can you guys see my current screen? Okay. Okay, David, thank you. Okay, yeah, Emmanuel, thank you. Okay, so back to okay, Abu, yes, thank you, bro. Okay, so back to David question. I want to find this. I want to find a specific the specific sheet so we can be able to do this absolute. David, what do you think? We should use the commission rate? Welcome, Lanos.
Yeah, you could use the commission rate. I just wanted some simple step to connect one sheet to another.
Okay, so I won't use
formula.
this assignment number 2. Let me see. We can use this, right? I don't can go ahead with this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to use a relative. Let me see why I can put this in red. Okay, so I'm going to use the absolute. So in this case, Lanos, are you following?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we have markup, right? We have 15%. And you know, we have the periods there, right? And we want to calculate the commission. We want to calculate the commission for each of these costs, right? So this time around, we're not going to use the F4 key to log the cell. They're going to give all the data. So let me see the cell. The cell is D5. The F4 key will give us the data D5. And I think it ends with data, something like that. So we are going to use the name range in this case. So remember the term rule is the name box doesn't allow spaces. And you don't give two cells the same name ranges in this case. So I'm going to mark up, which is 15%. Okay, let me zoom in and I'll move to my name box where you see B2, right? Select B2 and I'm gonna give something called, I'm gonna give a name range.
I'm not hearing you. You are too low.
Okay. Yeah, Elijah, I'm not using the F4 key. I'm gonna use the name range in this case. So we have okay, so we have markup here, right? And this is a commission, 15%. And I'm gonna give this cell a name range called markup. So I'm over to my name box, type in markup, and I hit enter. Remember, if I don't hit enter, it doesn't apply to the specific cell. So I hit enter. Okay, now I'm giving this cell a name range. How do I know? If I move to my formula ribbon, under my define names, I select name manager, I can be able to see markup, right? And I can see exactly the scope of this specific cell. Okay, so now how do I use this name in these cells? I can even make use of this cell or this name range in multiple sheets. Or for the sake of the what was it? Okay, so we are addressing Flomo. We are addressing Flomo, question. So here we are going to multiply January, this cost times the commission rate, which is 15% to give our commission, something like that. But we're not going to use the F4 key. We are going to use a name range. Okay, so I'm going to hit equal. We are using a formula, not a function. Equals my cost times what? I'm not going to see that the cell. I'm going to just step my name range, which is markup, and look what happens. And I hit tab and hit enter. So now it gives me my which is another form of absolute, right? And I can, use my auto feature to give me the list of the commission for each of these periods. Flomo, are you following? There was a question, right?
Yeah, that was my question. But how to link this cell what we're working in to another worksheet?
Okay.
How you
Okay. I understand. So let's move to another sheet. So in this sheet, let me zoom this in. So in this sheet, we have Ginger, we have these quarters, right? From 1 to 4, we have our totals. And I think Barry Allison made the highest, though second to the highest, I would say 31,000 and some change. Let's get a commission using the markup. Now we have this cell. We are already given this a name range called markup, and we are going to use this cell in another sheet, not this sheet. This sheet is called practice absolute relative reference, right? And we are moving to absolute relative reference using this. Now we're not going to use the 10%. We are going to use what? The
15%.
Thank you. So I'm going to use the formula equals what? My total, which is G5, multiplied by 1. I'm not going to that sheet called practice absolute reference. I'm going to go ahead and type in my reference, my name range. Now you see what happens, David? You have your name range. So you can use a name range in multiple sheets. You don't need to be specific when it comes to the sheet that you give the name range to. And I hit enter, control, enter, and there you go. I have my commission. Now remember, if I double click this cell, I have markup here, right?
Okay.
If I hit Control tilde, it moves me to this cell.
Okay.
I hope I also answer your question. So move back to identity questions. I'm going to remove this. Okay, and zoom back in, and we get into the presentation. Okay, so okay, I hope I was able to answer your question. Are there any questions? Any other question? Okay, say.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we are done with name ranges, right? And now we are oh, sorry, this should have been date. This should have been date function. Okay, so in Excel, there are a lot of text and date functions that, let me see who on the, okay, see, yeah. In Excel, there are a lot of date and text functions that, analysts make use of, apart from just the logical functions, which has to do with the VLOOKUPs, SLOOKUP, all of those, lookups. There are some common ones among that even HR or, the project manager make use of. That is, they want to come up with, maybe they have this bunch of data and they have a series of tasks. They want to just, come up with something to tell them when they are going to complete a specific task, or maybe when they are going to, complete a specific project. Okay, that's one way. Another way, HR officers, at some point some of the analysis that they do is to always say, if they have this job vacancy, they want to know when they have the data as to when it got posted, when it got filled. And at some point, they might want to, calculate how many days it would take, or specifically, let's say, calculate employee leave, something like that. Another thing is to calculate something called take consideration weekends. Maybe they are working on the specific task and they want to calculate when this employee will be done irrespective of weekends, as well as holidays. Now, there are a couple of text and date functions. I think the 3 or 4 we are going to talk about them in practice. What was it? Discussing this stuff, but let's dive into this. It was just today I received this thing. Okay, but first I want to talk about something. In Excel first day store, as you can see, Excel first day store numbers are serial, these are serial numbers, and you know, serial numbers as this also. It just very strict way in there's a very strict way in converting from serial to date and from date to serial. And I will show you guys in the next slide, a couple of minutes from now, suppose. Okay, so in this presentation, we are going to talk about some of the common date functions. We are going to talk about the today's function. The today's function gives you the current date, I would say. The nine function gives you the current date and the time. And we are going to talk about the year, the month, and the day functions. This is saying you have this function called year, and you want to, extract, you have a date. You want to extract the year, or you want to extract the month, or you want to extract the day. Okay. And these are just, pretty straightforward. And for the date value is that is a function like extract or give an output of dates from a text. So you provide a text and Excel give you the date format. Okay, and the date diff, which is the date difference in short. It is undocumented in Excel, I would say. But first, I want to confirm something. Can you guys see my current screen? If you can see my current screen, just put 1 in the chat so I can confirm, that I'm not talking to myself here. Okay.
Is it common date functions?
Okay, great. Okay. So the date diff function, it is undocumented in Excel. When I say undocumented, I'm talking about a scenario where, if you want to calculate now, just the difference is like you give 2 different days and it tells you the difference. Now, the reason I say undocumented is because in Excel, when you try to type date difference, it doesn't pull up. You don't see it using the function argument box. Okay, and but it is there. And there is this application that most people use it. Access. It is in the world of Access. It is in Access. It is documented in Access, but it is not documented in Excel. Okay, but it does. It works in Excel. And for the network days, HR practitioner use this. The network days, they are basically, you provide or dates or data. Within that data, you are telling Excel, I'm giving my start date, but I want you to tell me when I'm going to finish, depending on this number of days that I have to work. But take into consideration weekends, extra weekends. To make it more complex, you tell Excel, I have this data, I have, part of my data, I have a start date, and I have 15 days or 20 days or 30 days add up to my starting date, and I want you to tell me when I'm going to finish. But I have a series of holidays in these days, or weeks that I'm going to work. So extract those holidays and extract the weekends. That's how effective the work days. So sometimes it can get more complicated than that. So the HR practitioner, mostly you make use of the network days. For the work day is almost similar. It works in a way that you tell Excel you have a start date and you have, maybe other days that you need to work, but Excel need to tell you when you're going to finish. most of project manager uses. There's a slight difference between network days and HR day, work days. Sorry. Okay, so I think in couple of stats for now, we are going to jump straight into it. Let's say, so these are shortcut, right? We have control colon give you the timestamp, control. Oh, my apologies. This is swap. Control colon should give you the current date. Control shift colon should give you the current time, and now should give you your current date as well as your time. Sorry, my apologies. I will correct this before sending the slides across. I think what this was on our side. Okay, so we are going to extract this using the year, the month, and the day functions. And we are going to, okay, now we are into the practice slide. Let's see what we have here. Undocumented means when you try to put it up in Excel, it doesn't show. That's what I mean by undocumented. But okay, so undocumented means, for example, I have equals. If I want to type in the difference function, right? If I say DATE, you have the rest of these functions, popping up. It will make yourself tap your function, it pops up, even if you. So if I say DATE DRF, you see, you don't see it, but it's actually there because if I open parentheses, you see it appear that I have date difference. So it is undocumented. That is what I mean by undocumented. I hope I was able to answer your question. Elisha, are you following? Let me see.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So let's do something quickly here. So, okay, so can you guys see my current screen? Workbook, session 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm currently in sheet. Okay. I'm currently in the sheet called name range. And I have, this for America. Sorry, I should have, use library, but however the case is, the concept will be understood. So we have the list of these holidays, and we have the day, and we have, the date. So we are going to give these dates on name range called holidays, as you can see right here. So I said to name these cells from C2 to C12. See that these cells, okay. And the reason why I said we are going to give these cells a name range called holidays, you guys will see in, maybe I can say in subsequent sheets. And click the name box, and within the name box, step holidays and hit enter. So I've selected these cells. Okay, and I move to my name box, and I type in holidays. And I hit enter. So now I have my list of holidays, that I can reference with a name. Because if I move to my name box and I see the holidays, it moves me to my selected days. Okay, so we'll make use of the name range that we just did, which is holiday, in subsequent sheet. I'm moving to the next sheet called serial. Now I'm going to zoom in. Remember, this in Excel are stored as serial numbers, and serial numbers are also dates in Excel. It's just a straightforward way of converting, back and forth. Now, sometimes maybe the reason I have this included in this presentation because there might come a time some of you might come across and you might be confused what actually am I seeing. I thought they should have been date, but yes, they are dates, but you are seeing them as serial numbers. So it's important to be aware of these common things. So we have serial number, it will have year, we have month, day, and so forth. Now we are going to, these are all text, date and text functions that we are going to play with. So year, is, we are going to use the year function, which is equal, it is a function equal year, and select the serial number. For Excel, give us the year, and we'll do the same for the month, for the day. And I will stop for text. I will stop at these two, and we'll come back at some point in time. The reason I said it because there is a sheet that talks about text, and you got to understand better once we come back to this. So yeah, I'm going to use the year function. Remember all functions and yes, go ahead, Elisha.
Yes, my question has to do with where you have the name range.
Come again.
My question is where you have the name range.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the holidays, they don't fall on the same day every year. So how do you know that this holiday will fall on Monday this year? How do you know that it will fall on, let's say, Tuesday of next year? How do you let Excel know that?
So I think it just what you need to do as an analyst when you are working, but you will see why I name this as holidays. But thank you for that question. That is a brilliant question. What you need to do in this case, you are telling Excel to exclude a specific day within a year and within a month. So if you notice, or maybe sometimes like you said, the day changes depending on the year. So what do you need to do as an analyst if you are, preparing your report is to be specific, is to be exact of that of the day within a year, within a month. So you will always have this changing because like you said, the day will be changing. As the day changes, as the year changes, so the day change. So you will also need to be updating your reserve 2021 holidays or 2025 holidays or so forth. Because if November 29 for this year falls on Friday, next year going to move to Saturday. So which means next year you need to change your holidays, your reserve holidays. So it's just a straightforward way of you, playing with these things. I hope I was able to answer your question. If there are more questions, please ask. Okay, so I think there are no questions, so we'll move forward. So, okay, I have this. Elisha, you say you have a question?
No, you answered the question earlier.
Okay, thank you. So we moved, I have equal. I'm gonna go ahead and type in the year function, and which is just a straightforward way, equal year. And you see it pops up, and I hit my tab key on my keyboard, and it says serial number. Now, going forward, I'm not going to be doing the manual way of punching in input figures for functions. I'm going to be using the argument box. Remember, in session 2, I show you guys 2 ways to bring up the function argument box. One was a shortcut, and one was a FX. So in this case, the moment you have your first parenthesis opening of any function, you move ahead and see that your function argument box, this where it says insert function, and you have this box appear. The beautiful part of using this box, it gives you a flexibility of having a first hand or I would say seeing your result lifetime before applying it to the specific cell. So now we are using the EI function. It says serial number. So you say, okay, what is a serial number? And my serial number is, now there is another way. There is the first way of opening the function argument box. I'm going to close this. I'm going to hit equal year. I hit my tab key and I press Control A. It's a shortcut. It brings up the same function argument box. And it says serial number. And here's my serial number. 1. Now you see what happened. I selected B2 and I have my result, which is 1900. Okay. There are a lot of stuff that you can read. We went through this thing, but I'm not going to script, script on them. So we just okay. So I'm going to click OK. So now we have 1900 as our year, and I can make use of the auto feature. And there you go, we have the year for the serial dates. And we can do the same for month equals month. Control A, serial number, this, and it says 1, which is January. Okay, and use my function figure. And you can do the same for date. These are the pretty straightforward date and text functions that you can make use of. And let's see this. These are switched. My apologies. So control colon should give you your current date, which is the current date should be 26th of May. Control colon gives me my current date. And control semicolon, but it should have been control shift semicolon gives me my current time, I suppose. Okay, and hit enter. And today give you your current date. So I say equals today. Close parenthesis, hit enter, give my current date. And now should give you your current date and current time. So now, and I'm going to press control shift before pressing enter to remain in the cell. It gives my current date and time. So another thing, these two, they are static. These two, they are static. These two changes. So at some point, if you are working in your Excel workbook and you are using a today function somewhere to calculate your network days or performing some HR related functions, it's important you take note of this thing as to which one is static, which one is dynamic. So whenever you open the Excel workbook, something got to recalculate. Because if a date is static, if you're using that date against multiple cells, those cells are going to be static. But if you want to open your Excel workbook where they're going to be recalculating every time, it means that you're going to use a dynamic function, which we're going to use any of these, not the static, which is this one. These two, they are static. Okay. So are there any question on this sheet? We'll move ahead. I'm going to the next sheet called, let me see, where is this? Okay, date value. Date value convert, like I said, convert text to date. And date difference, like I said, date difference is undocumented. It calculates the difference between two dates using the years, the months, and the days. And this is the syntax for the date difference. You give it your start date and you give it your end date, and you tell Excel in terms of increment whether you want a year. A year is represented by Y, months represented by M, and days represented by D. So in a couple of seconds, you guys going to see how that works. Okay, so let's practice the date difference and the date value. Okay, so I'm moving to my next sheet called date value, and I'm going to zoom in. So maybe at some point you might come across, text as these. These are all text. They are not dates, because if you look in your home ribbon, if I select any of them, home ribbon, normal group, you see it is highlighted as text, which means these are not dates. Okay, so to convert them to dates, let me confirm whether you guys are with me. Okay, so to convert them to date, we're going to use a date value function. I'm going to hit equal date value, and you see it pops up because it is documented in Excel. And I hit my tab key, and I'm going to use my argument box, Control A, brings in my function argument box, and you say, why is your text? Where is the text located? Here is my text. Okay, and it gives me 44197 as my results. Now, the reason I gave that because it is putting a text. And remember, this is in a serial format, and you need to convert it to a text or date format. I click enter or OK, and I move to my home ribbon in my numbers group, change this to a long date or a short date, any one of them. And there you go, you have it. And I can do my auto for the rest of them. Oops, I need to pull this back. Don't need this. Are there any questions? Oh, what is this? Are there any questions? And it seems that I need to do the rest for this. Okay, there you go. So the date value converts text to actual date. Sometimes they go in a serial format, sometimes they give you the exact date. And let's move to the date difference that gives you. So the date difference, HR also may use of a date difference. At some point in time, they might want to calculate how many years a specific employee been for company, and maybe the months don't really matter. The days also don't matter, but mainly the years. Yeah, so they may use of the date difference. Remember, I said something in a slide. Okay, yeah. I said it's important when you are performing analysis as an analyst, you want to make sure, yeah, do I have a question? So the date value converts just any form of text? No, not any form of text. The reason I said not any form of text is because you gotta give it a unique format. Okay. Yeah. So I said something. If you are performing analysis, it's important that if you are using your today and now, or you are using current date, make sure you use this that recalculates whenever you open your Excel workbook. Okay. So in this case, I have two cells that recalculates whenever I open this cell, today and now. But I also have two that are static. So now I'm going to teach you guys. So I'm moving to date difference years of service. Let me zoom this in so you guys can see. So you have a list of employees, right? And these are the IDs, along with the payroll number and when they were hired. Now you have these extra columns called years of service, months of service, days of service. Okay. Now, you want to calculate how long how many years David Lee spent with the company in terms of year and month and also day. But remember, look at the syntax for date difference. It says, give me the start date, give me the end date, and give me your increment, which is whether year, month, or day. Now, so in this case, who want to answer this question? Why going to be the start date? Why going to be the start date? Just put it in the chat, or you can talk. You're going to mute and talk. Why going to be the start date?
Today.
So they're going to be a start date. Okay, thank you for that. Who's next? Who's next? Anybody else? So all the guys, anybody want to try? Huh. All the guys, anybody want to try? Okay, let me see. January 1st, 1990. Okay, Abu, we are currently on a date difference sheet. Anybody want to try before I move ahead? Anybody else? Okay, so let's make progress. So my start date in this case is going to be so my start date in this case is going to be my hire date. when the person got hired. When David Lee got hired, that's gonna be my start date. Because I want to calculate the years of service for David Lee. Okay, okay. Follow understood. And what's gonna be my end date? Anybody? What's gonna be my end date? Anybody else? I have a lot of men on this.
Retirement date.
Okay, retirement date. I don't think I have retirement date yet. I only have higher.
No, you don't have it.
So
retirement, but you can't get it's difficult to get the end date because you just have the start
It's
date.
going to be today.
Because the problem is I don't know how long. It depends on how long the man is being hired for. That's the only way you can get it. The end date.
We are counting how many years of service up to today. So I think the end date will be today.
The end date is today. Yes, that's it. Because the rationale is you want to calculate how long this employee been on the company. So you gotta look at when the person got hired and against your current date. That's where you know that. So now here's a not tricky part. So today's date, what function in terms of today am I going to use here? Am I going to use my now? I'm going to use my today. Which one am I going to use here?
So they're saying you say today is a day she's.
I think it's ideal to use today because now we include time and everything.
Okay, so I use today. So I'm going to hit equals today, and it gives me my function, and close parenthesis and hit enter. So it gives me today. So now let's make use of the function. So I'm currently in A6 cell, hit enter to go ahead and put in my date difference. And I'm going to say DATEDRF. Now you don't see it because it is undocumented. I'm going to hit parentheses and press Ctrl A to give me my function argument back. Now, the reason I did this because I wanted for you guys to see. You see, they didn't bring in the function argument back because it is undocumented. I'm going to click cancel and we'll do it the manual way. So equals DATEDRF, open. And the first thing that we're going to put in here is our start date. So our start date is our hire date, right? Comma, and end date is today's date, right? Comma, and increment. What do we want to get? We want to get a year. And we're going to put that in double quote, Y, double quote, and close brackets. And I'm going to hit enter, and it says David Lee has spent 29 years with the company of present, which is 2025. Now, but watch what happens if I scroll this down, and this is going to be another question to every one of you. I have this value, non-value, non-value, non. So who can correct this? Who can correct this? And who can, just by seeing this, who can pinpoint the problem? Why I say it gave us the correct answer for the first cell, but it gave us the wrong for the second cells and so forth. So who can correct this? Just by looking at what we have in here in our function argument box. Who can? Anybody? Anybody want to try? Why is it giving error? Okay, I think we have something in the chat. Let's see what we have there. Because the higher dates are different. Okay, Abu, thank you for that. Who else want to try?
I think I would prefer if you click in one of the values there, so I see what formula we have
Okay,
there.
yeah, sure. I can, let me click in the first one. I click in the first one. Here's the first one. D6 is my higher date. E2 is today's date. Today's date, and Y is my increment. So where is it? Where is the problem coming from? Just by looking at this function. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I think we should have used that E2 the absolute way. I don't know whether that is the right
That's
way to
it.
say it.
That's it. That's it. You got it. Because if you look at, let me go back. If you look at the second cell, which is A7, if I double click on A7, you see why it went there. It moved my reference, which is today. It moved it to what? To the different cell. Okay. If I move down further, you see what it's doing is incrementing every row. So what we need to do in this case is to make E2 as absolute by pressing either F4 key or we'll give you a name range. But in this case, I'm going to press F4 and I will have $E, $2. And I'm going to hit enter and stop to timing. And there you go. So we'll have the years of service for the rest of them. Okay. Oops. Project 5.
Come again.
Huh? Repeat, please. Someone just, was it Cecilia?
Yeah, do it again.
Okay, so we have years of service. So we have E2, which is our reference cell, and it is our end date. So we need to lock this cell, okay? We need to lock this cell, but because it is a reference cell, it is our end date. If we don't lock this cell, as we move along with our auto feature, Excel going to move to E3, E4, and keep implementing. So we are going to use the F4 key by using absolute reference in this case. So I'm going to use the F4 key by pressing F4. My cursor can be between or at the end or at the beginning, wherever. And I'm going to press F4 and I will have $E, $2 that says the cell is locked. And I'm going to press Control Shift Enter. And there you go. I have 27. If I jot this down, I have, the rest of them.
Okay. My concern. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know what this thing keep. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so for me, this formula that we just use, where you have Y, you got quote Y, quote open Y, quote close. Is it to when you calculating the year of service before you use that?
Come again?
Where in the formula you have quote open Y and quote close. Yes. The way you just added, you see here? You guys know what I'm saying?
No. I'm trying to.
Yeah, when you find the year of service, that's the time you use they quote Y quote.
Yes. If it is years of service, you use Y. If it is month, you use M. If it is day, you use D.
Yeah, so that's the difference I just wanted to get. Thank you.
Okay, so we move to the months to calculate the number of months David has been with the company. So equals the difference, TADRF, open, and my start date is higher date, comma, my end date is today's date, but I'm going to lock this cell by pressing F4, comma, and double quotes M, double quotes, parenthesis closes, and hit enter. So it says still 128 days, but it gives me decimal. So I'm going to move to my home ribbon, and under my numbers group, I decrease my decimal point. So this person was hired in 1998 From 1998 to 2025, 328 months. Okay, I think I have a question. So the letters are built in and must be used in. Sorry, I don't understand your question, Elijah. Maybe you know,
Yes, what I mean, the letter M, Y, and D, are they built in?
Yes,
built
yes,
in?
yes, they are built in. Okay, so we're going to find the days of service equals that. I will leave this to you guys your time. You guys can figure that out. But I think part of the assignment has to do with doing all of these things, sending it back to me. So I'm going to stop here for the days of service. Okay, so let's make progress. Where's my slide? Okay. So we move to next work days and work days for HR. As you can see, the work day immediately used for HR and project managers. What it does is you give it a list of dates, and you tell I'm going to start on this specific day. And when you tell me when I'm going to finish, but take into consideration my holidays. Okay. For the network days, on the other hand, you have two different network days in Excel. I placed one here. There's another one called Network Days International. That is, it takes two criteria apart from the function itself. So you tell the function to exclude the number of holidays within a week, and you also tell the function to exclude the weekends. So, but for the workday only have, as you can see, it only have holidays. But for the network day, it has two. The network day has three, and the network international day has four. I will show you guys in a couple of seconds as we dive into it. Okay, let's practice the HR function. I said HR function, but HR immediately use this. Okay, so I'm moving to my next sheet called network day. Hold on 1 minute, guys. Okay, so so I'm currently on the network day sheet, and you have these job titles, and you have this that they got posted and when they got filled, and you need to prepare a report to send your boss to know when it took for each of these jobs to get filled. So in this case, on average, HR practitioner use the network day function. So we are going to dive directly into that. So equals, and if I start to type now, just monitor what happens. As I step to type in network days, you have two network days. You have the network days and you have the network days dot international. And the difference is one that contains 3 arguments and one that contains 4. So I'm going to show you guys the first one. I'm going to hit tab and hold down my control key, press A, which brings in my function argument box. So I have my start date, my end date, and my number of holidays. Remember, we listed or we give a name range in the first sheet, the sales. So this is what we're going to make use of the network days, these holidays. Okay, now let me show you the network days international. So I'm going to tap in network days international. Okay, yeah, it's Control A, brings in my functional argument box. Now you see the network days international contains 4 arguments. Give me the start date, give me the end date. Now you remember the start date and the end date, they are bold. They are bolded, I would say, because they are or it is compulsory you provide the start date and the end date. For the rest of these, they are optional. And it says, give me the start date, give me the end date, give me your weekend. Maybe, for example, you have 3 weeks, and out of those 3 weeks, you're going to be out for 1 week, and you will need to specify that for the function to actually work. Okay, and it says, give me the number of holidays. Okay, so okay, so now we are going to use the network days, function. Control A, give me my network days. And what is my start date? My start date, who can answer this question? When is my start date? Just, you can put one in the chat. Okay, okay. My start date is when this job got posted. And my end date is when it got filled. Okay, so now I'm gonna do 2 things. So now you have our result. It says this job got filled in 35 days, right? Now I'm gonna leave this holiday blank, and I'll create another column. And I will use the holiday so you guys can see the difference. So it says, oh, it took 35 days for this job to get filled. I'm gonna click OK, well, that's fine. And do the rest of this. Okay, and here I'm gonna say with holidays. So I'm gonna use the same function equals network days. Control A. My start date is when the job got posted. My end date is when it got filled. And my holidays. So now I'm going to tell Excel, this job got posted on this day, it got filled on this day, but give me a list of holidays that falls in the range that you need to exclude from this function. Now it says 35. Now, another way to bring in your name ranges when you have the function argument box open, because you don't have the ability now to go to your formulas ribbon to click name ranges, it won't appear here. So the shortcut for that is by pressing the F3 key on your keyboard. So if you have the function argument box open and you need to include your name ranges in your function, you press the F3 key, it brings in your list of name ranges. Okay, now I just did, and it gives me holiday because I only have holiday. Okay, and I click OK. Now see what happens. I hit holidays, and it went ahead, it gives me a list of all my holidays from sheet 1, which is named as name range. But now see what happened. It gave me the result of 34 instead of 35, because this job, it took 35 days. But it seems that I had a holiday in between that, it eliminated, it gave me 34. I'm going to click OK and do the rest of them. Okay, this one was 24. It says the holiday. This one 23. So there's you can make use of the network days in so many ways when it comes to dictionary result functions. Now this will be part of your assignment. You guys gonna tell me how many days are left in 2025 and how many working days are left in 2025 total. Okay, so are there any questions on the sheet? I'm moving to workday. Okay, workday. Are there any questions? Okay, I think we are on course. So the workday is give me your list of start date and tell me how many days you will need to complete this start. And I will tell you when you will end. Now you can also include holidays, you can include weekends as well. Okay, so let's make use of the workday. Workday, you also have Workday International. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Control A gives me the functional argument box. Start date, my start date is when? This is my start date. And how many days I need to complete that my boss gave me to complete this work? 17 days. Now, the result is in serial number. You can convert that to an actual date. And you can also say, oh, my boss gave me 17 days to complete this task, but I have 2 or 3 holidays in week 1, week 2, week 3, something like that. I'm going to tell you when you will finish doing this, but take in consideration your holidays. I'm going to click OK and just convert this to a short date. Okay, and it's I want to finish. So these are, oops, since I don't, okay. Are there any question? I'm just trying to convert these to actual dates, which I can say pretty straightforward. Okay, so I think we are on course. No question for now. And now we move to text function, which will be the last I can say in this presentation. Well, we did something the last time. I think we made use of splash fill to separate text, and we applied that on 2 columns that had names in them. But in this presentation, we are going to use an advanced method called what it says it is a text function, but it's meaning, or they call it text to column. Yeah. So there are basically 3 ways that there should be more than that. 4, but the 4 is the shortest way, the one we did of recent in session 2 or session 3, I would say. So example, you can split using the flash fill. We did this, but you guys want to see we will I think there is a sheet. If I didn't remove it, there's a sheet where we will make use of the splash fill, and we are going to make use of the left right search. Now the left is telling Excel I have a cell that contains numbers mixed with characters, and I need you to extract. Now extract also form part of these left functions, but you guys want to see how that works. And how do you make use of the split text? By using the text to column. You move to your data tab and you hit text to column, and you can go ahead and do the rest using delimiters. Now, some of these things I'm saying, I don't want you guys to get confused. We are going to practice and straight it. Okay, here is it. So I'm going back to the workbook, and this time around I'm moving to separating names. Okay, so who can remember how we make use of splash fill? Who can remember? I think the answer should be right if on you. You can unmute and just are you guys with me?
Yeah, well, yes. For me, I'm with you.
I'm
I
with
think
you.
you tap this. I think the last name, and then you use the fill handle to check it. You use the fill handle, and then you select flash fill.
Come again, please repeat. Okay, so how do you make use of the splash fill? Oh, yes. So, like I said, the answer is red if on you. So splash fill, you what is splash fill gonna make use of all cells that are on the left. Immediate cells are on the left. Most times, if you want to make use of some advanced way where you don't need to make use of your immediate left, you move to your data tab and you make use of your data tools. But you guys want to see how we'll do that. So let's do this the splash fill. So we have these names, right? And here I'm going to put in Art, which is the first name, right, for this person. And I'm going to drag down a stop to, I agree. And you see this small box, see where you say autofill options, select this box and select splash fill. And it gives me a list of, the list of these. I do the same for my last name. It's going to give me Ahmed, Manus, Alina, tablet, so forth. But let me use of the text to column so you guys can see. There is another advanced way to separate, I would say. So how this work is you select you select your cells or your group of cells that you want to perform the text to column. And in this case, we have our names, right? So I'm going to select Ahmed, Control Shift, downward key. Now, everything they are highlighted and I move to my data ribbon. Under my data tools group, I see the text to column and I have this box. And the first thing you're going to do, according to, I'm just moving through, I'm not following this, but you can read this. It says select delimiter. Now, delimiter is separating text by, strings, comma, or so forth. Strings are I won't say strings is the separating text by spaces, by tabs, by semicolon. And here you have a preview of our data. Ahmed, Jaina, Marcos, so forth. You see that delimiter, and you see that next, and you have this next option that talks about delimiters, a list of delimiters. Here we are separating our, our data by what? By space. Okay, not by tab, not by semicolon, not by comma. Okay, in case maybe there might come a time you might have a data where you want to separate them by tab or semicolon, you can choose which of the options that best fits your scenario. And you click next, and it gives you a list of different formats. But another important thing that you want to make sure of, let me go back. You see where it says tab. I want to see. Okay, yeah, treat consecutive delimiter as one. I think I highlighted here. Now the reason I'm saying this because you have names that are joined together over space, and you are telling Excel to separate them in these two different columns by using space. Now, if I uncheck this, if I uncheck this, it's going to be the opposite of me joining these names. I hope you guys are following. If you have questions, you ask. I'm going to click next. And you see I have my column data format, and I can choose whichever format I want to make use of. And another important thing, it says destination. Where do I want to put it? I'm going to remove A2 and select D2. I'm just going to select D2. That's it. And let's see. Now, another thing I want to bring to you guys' attention. You see, there's going to be our data that's going to be, separated, but they will contain a headers called general. So first, they're going to contain a header called general. Second, they're going to contain a header called general. But I don't want that. For me, I don't want that. So I'm going to see the last option that says do not import column. And you see it says skip column. And well, I think I'm just okay with that, but I want to see what it says here. There should be another. No, I don't want this. And I'm gonna see how I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna click finish. Okay, so it gives me, but it gives me the last name of each of them, which have been the first name plus the first column. So we can go by and do that. We can go by and redo. I want to confirm something. Are you guys will be on this? Okay, great. So I selected the first column. That's why it gives me the last name. It should have been the first name, but that's just the advanced way of making use of your text to column by using the delimiter. Okay. Oh, damn this. Okay, what do we have here again? Okay, let's see what we can go through this quickly. Okay, at some point, maybe you might be, working with a lot of data and you want to make sure everything are correct. Now, the len function, what the len function does is it gives you the list of characters that falls on the left. And sometimes numerically, sometimes it gives you, I would say numerically, on the average. The train function, on the other hand, you provide a cell or a group of cells that contain spaces and you want to trim those spaces. Now, I'm going to do, okay, the exact function, maybe you did some analysis in your Excel workbook and you send it to someone and that person play with your data and you send it back and you notice something wearing red and you ask them, they say no, they have no idea concerning what happened. So you use the exact function to determine whether a specific cell group of cells match. Concatenate, on the other hand, joins group of cells together or join two words together. You have concat, which is the advanced, function. So if you don't have concat, it means that you have an earlier version of Microsoft Excel. That should be 2016. 2016 should be having concatenate. Yeah, so we'll make use of both of them. So let's make use of the len function. So I'm going to hit equal len and hit in my function argument box and select my cell, which is seldom. And it says 20 characters are formed within the cell, which is A2. Click OK. And which doesn't really, sound right to me because just by these two words, something is not right. So I'm going to use a train function. People use this on a daily basis to, clean the data. These are the basic functions that you should be aware of. And the main reason why I included them. So I'm going to say trim. Trim, Control A, trim what? Trim A2. Okay. And now it gives me the list, it gives me my correct result that I want. But this time around, it eliminated all the spaces. And now I can use my len function. So I said length 1, len, Control A, and select my trim, which now contains 14. So it says 14 characters. So you see how these functions comes in handy. It's important that you be aware of these things. At some point that you might come across some messy data that you want to, clean up as fast as you can. Okay, so my exact function is to give me first name, another column called first name 1, and tell me whether they match. So you can, apart from that, you can use a match function in a lot of ways. And I think in the next session, which is going to be either Wednesday or Saturday, you guys will see some advanced method using the exact function. Okay, so I'm going to say exact. Notice it pops up. And I'm going to hit control argument box or control, my argument box. And it says text 1, which is my reference, my start, which is first name. Second one going to be this one. And it says true. It gives me a logical response. True means that these cells, both of them are correct. And it says true. If not, it will say false. and I can, use my auto feature, and it says, so they are false because G is false because you have one is capitalized J and other is small j. Now, we're going to use the concatenate and the concat. And this is going to be a little bit tricky. So I will advise that you pay a little attention to these two. Okay, so that's what we have here. So I'm going to remove this. In this case, I'm going to join my first name and my last name, but I'm going to separate them by space. Okay, so equals contact. Now I have the ability to use both of them because I'm using 365. If you according to you saying 2016, you should be having access to concatenate, not concat, something like that. But for the sake of this presentation, I'm going to use concatenate and hit Control A. It brings my function argument bias. And what is my first text? My first text is my first name. And at text 2, I'm going to put double quotes. Oops. Okay. And my last name gonna be Courtland. Now I have Courtland. There you go. And for this one, what I'm gonna do in this case, first I want to confirm, are you guys following?
Yeah.
Okay, so my first concatenate, we separated two names by the, okay, we separated two names by a space, but for this case, I'm going to separate them by a comma. So equals concat, Control A, text 1, which is my first name, text 2, double quotes, comma, double quotes, and text 3 is going to be my last name. I'm going to select this one, and now I have, Dana, Coden, so forth. There you go. So these are the basic ways that we make use of concatenate, so forth. And it's important that you be aware of these things. It might come in handy at some point in time. Are there any questions? Okay, no question. Then we'll make progress. Okay, for this, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys a trick here. Once we are done with this, I think this should be the last slide. Okay, the left function is a telling Excel you give a cell that contains a number mixed with letters, and you want to extract your numbers from your letters. So you may use the left function, but in most cases you tell Excel where it should start from and where it should end, and you can make use of the mid and the right. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to remove this. So in this cell, I'm going to say equals left. Control A. What is my text? My text is this ID fee, right? And it said number of characters. This is a short form. Number of characters is 3 because this cell contains numbers and letters. But I just want the first 3 characters, which is PCC, and put 3. Now you see I get my result of PCC and hit OK. Now the reason why it did the automatic expansion for the rest of these is because this is in your table. Okay, I can go ahead and make use of the may function also. May text is this one, comma, number of characters. I need 5, comma. Well, I need to let me use the function argument back so you guys can see what is happening here. Equals made. Where's my text? My text is ID fee. And where do I want to start from? I want to start from the 4th, I would say number. So I'm gonna put here 4. The reason I said 4th, because you have PCC 3 characters. 7 is the 4th. Oh, sorry, I put 7. And where do I want to end? Who can guess? I want to end at 5 because I'm taking 7, 8, 9, 8, 3, which are 5 numbers, right? But 7 is a starting point and 7 represents 4. The position 7 in is 4. Now, the reason I'm saying this or I'm presenting this because at some point in time, you might come across these things and it'll be, I mean, they might help to clean up your data at some point in time. It might sound so simple, so easy, but it's important to be aware of these things. Okay, and I hit enter. Now it gives me a list of these, and I'm going to make use of the right. Control A. Why is my text? There's my text. Number of characters. Number of characters, what? 2, which is F7. You see, it's a result 2. Now, here's the beautiful part. If you send this work to another person, the person is going to see your functions in your function bags. Okay, at some point you don't want to send your work to another person, and that person should be able to see the function that you use or the formula you use. So most times you use only the values. So what you're going to do in this case, because the reason I said it, because if you delete any of these cells, it's going to affect everything here. For example, if I delete this one, this is what happens. It affects your right, your left, so forth. So what you want to do, and also you still have your functions in this. So what you want to do as a professional person, once you are done with your work and you are sending to another person, you paste the values on it. So there's a shortcut. I'm going to show you a shortcut on this cell, in this column D. So I'm going to select this. Okay, copy and paste it right in the same cell. You see where it says paste values 1, 2, 3. If I select this option, now see what happens. If they are pasted, if I log in the function argument, but they are pasted as a value, not a function. So even if I remove any of these, add these, they will not be affected. I'm going to show you a result. I can go ahead and do the same for this. Now let me show you the shortcut for if you want to send your result to another person and the person you don't want to see your function or your formula used. Select your cell and move at the edge of the selected cells. Drag it outside a little bit in that cell, put it back in and release your cursor. Okay, in most cases, Excel gives you list option. I don't know why this is. I want to see what this. Okay, there is. See, it's not popping up. I wanted to show you guys a short form. Sometimes it's like copying. Let me do this again, see what it's gonna pop up. If not, maybe it's my function is maybe if you put it back in, it's not popping up. So I guess Excel is not happy. There is a shortcut. Once you put it back in, Excel gives you options to copy as. It is same as paste, paste value or paste whatsoever. Okay, so I'm gonna give this as assignment. You guys gonna do this and send it back before Wednesday. You're gonna refill everything in the worksheet. I think we have covered the slides. Okay, that's it. We'll do this Wednesday. So far, are there any question? I'm gonna mute for a couple of seconds.
I didn't get the assignment part that you're going to give our assignment. You send everything back to us, right?
Yes, I'm sending everything back to you guys, and you guys gonna refill everything, which we're gonna do everything in this workbook.
Oh, we're going to refill everything in the web as assignment?
Yes.
Is that what you want to say?
Yes, that's what I said.
What?
Yes, my concern is not really a question, but when you are using the Excel where you can press the F4 key and other keys to do some other things, my own doesn't work that way. For instance, if you want to make the cell absolute and you press F4, you'll see the dollar sign appearing. But my own computer, once I press F4, it will only increase the computer volume and I can see the direction to appear.
I don't see what you're saying.
So
So most time you make use of your name range if that is the case. I don't see what you just said. So now it's the keyboard.
It's the keyboard.
Okay.
Sometimes what you do, red side the control key, you'll see FN. You press FN and
Yeah.
you press the F4. It then will work.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try that as well.
Yeah, it will work. That's how you do it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Do we have any questions? Do you have any question?
And no question. I want to rush to go use the bathroom. So let me just ask one quick question. The recording, will you be able to send it to us tonight or tomorrow? You'll send it?
I'll try to send it tonight. If not, it'll be early in the morning.
Yeah, because some of the different practice work we did, because you come to take it from the web book, or to look at it and be able to see whether we can complete the entire sheet you want to do.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so I think there's no question. I want to appreciate every one of you for joining. I look forward to seeing you guys Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.